Disgracefully, the Labour government of Anthony Albanese and Penny Wong this week completely betrayed Israel and the Jews, Australian Jews, yet again by voting in the United Nations for an unconditional ceasefire with Hamas, much to the approval of The Guardian and all the usual anti-Zionist suspects, the ABC and so on. In doing so, Australia went against our two most important allies, the US and the UK. Worse, Albanese and Wong had us deliberately aligning with the likes of Iran, Afghanistan, and other such human rights luminaries. You can judge a country, or more importantly, a government, by the company it keeps. Let me reiterate what is now crystal clear. At every single opportunity, whenever presented with a choice between the interests of Israel or the interests of the Iran-backed terrorist-supporting pro-Palestinian anti-Jewish forces at large in the world, Labour has at every occasion chosen the latter. The Liberal Party, under Peter Dutton, has always favoured the former. Another reason every person who holds dear the existence and the values and the heritage of Israel and the Jews must, at the next election, vote for Peter Dutton and the Coalition, or One Nation, but not for the Teals, who are all over the place on Israel, not for Labour, the great betrayers, and certainly never, ever, obviously, for the Greens. By the way, just to show how stupid Wong and Albanese and the rest of them are, by voting for a ceasefire, which won't happen, by the way, they are voting by definition for the possible survival and perpetuation of the evil Hamas regime. The very regime that, as Sharon Haskell said to us earlier in the show, many Palestinians in Gaza themselves are desperate to be rid of. Here's just some of them, and you won't see this footage on the ABC.
أنه قرار سلم خلاص معايا هبل هذا اللي بيسويه هبل قتل شعبه السنوار قتل شعبه
اللي دمروا البلد واللي يا ابو العبد انت اكبر حبيب ويا هانيه ويا عباس يا هانيه ويا عباس وين الكهرب وين الغاز وين الكهرب وين الغاز
احنا دفعنا ثمن تذكره حماس احنا دفعنا التذكره لها.
In essence, Labour has voted to keep those people imprisoned by Hamas, whom they hate. Nice work, Penny and Alba. You do a great job. As you heard, one of the reasons Gazans are so furious is that the medical and food aid that is trucked in and paid for by us, governments like us, gullible Westerners, it doesn't necessarily go to those who need it. Rather, Hamas has armed guards, reportedly preventing the public from getting their hands on the big trucks, while only a small amount goes to the public. The true obscenity of Hamas is that it is run by murderous thugs who have enriched themselves through terror. Yet the woke West happily pours billions of dollars into the so-called pro-Palestine movement. As this sketch from Israel's top comedy show points out.
The children of Gaza are suffering. They have no food or medical supply. But you can help. Please open your heart and make a donation by clicking in the link below. Shukran and God bless you.
cannot believe what we are brought on Gaza. Thank Allah that we are safe in the plaza. There's nothing left to eat like a Ramadan retreat. I don't really give a cause I'm hanging in my sweets. Ask money, my dog needs new Armani. Cause the sky is red, but Qatar is always sunny. You just give me money, life is pretty funny. Cause the sky is red, but Qatar is always sunny.
We need more money.
People of the world.
There you go. Humour often tells those truths that others then won't say. All jokes aside, the stupidity and naivety of the woke left is beyond absurd. Many things in life we must make a choice. Not everything can be consensus. Not everything is morally equivalent. Watch here how Hamas and UNRWA educate Palestinian children versus how Israel educates Israeli children. First, here's the Palestinian kids being educated.
يلا كيف تقتلي؟
نمسك الحجار ونرمى عليه.
تحبوش إسرائيل؟
نكره.
And here are Israeli kids being educated.
בהרבה דברים, למשל שצריך יהודי ואני ערבייה.
כן, אבל איך אתם יכולים להיות חברים אם אתם כל כך שונים?
כי אנחנו גם דומים בהרבה דברים.
Palestinian kids being taught to kill and hate Israelis and Jews, while Jewish and Israeli kids are being taught to live in peace with their Arab neighbours. Unfortunately, it's not just in Gaza, but also in the West Bank, that Arab kids are taught to kill Jews. Here is the great, albeit controversial, British journalist and good friend of mine, Melanie Phillips.
You can see it in their educational materials, in which they teach their children. This is the Palestinian Authority. They teach their children that their highest calling in life is to murder Jews and steal all their land, to take Jaffa, Tel Aviv, Haifa. These are Israeli cities. They want the lot. And they say so. They also say it's holy war, that Israel is intent on destroying the Al-Aqsa Mosque. This lie has ignited Islamic jihadi hysteria since the 1920s. It is a total lie.
So there's no hope?
There is no hope as long as the West continues to fund, legitimise, sanitise and incentivise the genocidal attack on the Jewish people in the state of Israel. That's what's kept this terrible war going.
Your tax dollars go to educating some of those Palestinian kids. And our kids in our schools are taught many of the similar kind of tropes that Melanie was referring to. These woke dimwits, and they are not alone, who profess to show their support for a free Palestine are merely useful idiots perpetuating, as would our Labour government, the agony of the Palestinian people being led by a murderous regime in Gaza. When confronted with the evils of the Japanese regime in the Second World War, did we say, hey, Hirohito, would you like a permanent ceasefire? Maybe we could swap a few POWs. What do you say? No. We finished the job. When we confronted Hitler, we didn't have woke lefties in power saying, oh, it's how we defeat Hitler that matters. We need to bring down the Gestapo, the SS, the Luftwaffe, the Wehrmacht and the Einsatzgruppen proportionately and show restraint. No, we didn't. We finished the job. Speaking of woke lefties, many people have asked me, yeah, but how come Hamas was able to attack in the first place, alluding to some kind of conspiracy theory? And it's a good question, one that has certainly bothered me since October 7th, having been to Gaza and saw the border and seen the extraordinary and elaborate defence networks and technology in place. So I was very interested to see an article this week in the Jewish News Syndicate by highly respected journalist Caroline Glick. Read it for yourself, but in a nutshell, and obviously I'm paraphrasing. She is saying that it looks extremely likely that it was the woke, Netanyahu-hating lefties within the defence forces who are to blame for deliberately ignoring and silencing months of warnings about what Hamas were planning, because it didn't fit their woke narrative. And even more disturbing, as I suspected all along, the whole Supreme Court controversy over the past year plays a part in that woke undermining of Israel by the BB haters. Read the article. As I keep having to point out, the whole left, wokeness simply being a modern iteration of communism and subversive Fabian socialism. Wokeness has done and continues to wreak indescribable havoc on the prosperity and security of the Western world, ours included.